Samsung's Ultra lineup has reached a stage where dramatic upgrades are no longer guaranteed, and that makes every new generation even more important. The Galaxy S26 Ultra brought some welcome changes. But for many users, it felt more like a polished update than a bold step forward. That is not a disaster by any means, because refinement matters. But it also makes one thing very clear. Samsung cannot afford to play it safe forever. If the Samsung Galaxy S27 Ultra is going to feel like a true next-generation flagship in 2027, it needs to solve the areas where the Ultra series is starting to look outdated. This is not about adding gimmicks or chasing flashy specs just for marketing. It is about improving the real user experience in ways that matter every single day. Here are the biggest Samsung Galaxy S27 Ultra upgrades that could truly make a difference. First, Samsung needs to make 16GB RAM standard across all Galaxy S27 Ultra variants. In a time when on-device AI is becoming central to the Galaxy experience, 12GB RAM no longer feels like enough for an Ultra-branded phone. Samsung is pushing advanced Galaxy AI features, multitasking, image processing, live translation, and more through One UI, and all of these tasks demand more memory, restricting 16GB RAM to a top-end 1TB storage version, as seen with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, makes the base models feel unnecessarily limited. A premium flagship should not force users to pay the highest possible price just to unlock what should already be standard. If Samsung wants the Galaxy S27 Ultra to represent a no-compromise Android phone, then every version should ship with 16GB RAM by default. Another key area where Samsung needs to improve is the telephoto camera system, especially the 3x zoom lens. Samsung has built a reputation for powerful camera hardware. But one of the weakest points in the current setup remains the aging 10M P3X telephoto sensor. On an Ultra smartphone in 2026 and beyond, that specification feels increasingly underwhelming. The Galaxy S27 Ultra should move to a 50MP or even higher resolution 3x telephoto camera with a larger sensor that would allow it to capture more light, preserve more detail, and deliver significantly better portraits, especially in low light. Telephoto photography has become one of the biggest battlegrounds among premium smartphones, and brands like Oppo and Vivo are already proving that better zoom hardware can dramatically improve image quality. Samsung can no longer rely only on software processing to cover up outdated hardware. A stronger 3x telephoto camera could make the Galaxy S27 Ultra far more competitive in real world. Photography. The front camera is another area where Samsung has waited too long to make a meaningful change. For years, the selfie experience on Galaxy Ultra devices has been decent, but not truly exciting. That needs to change with the Samsung Galaxy S27 Ultra. One of the most important possible upgrades would be optical image stabilization on the selfie camera. OIS would make a major difference in low-light selfies, front-facing video recording, and video calls. It would help produce steadier footage, reduce blur, and improve overall clarity for creators and everyday users alike. Samsung could also consider a higher resolution or square-style sensor that allows more flexible framing, similar to what some competitors are exploring. That would make the front camera more versatile for both portrait and landscape content, especially for social media creators, vloggers, and users who increasingly rely on their phone as their primary camera. A true front camera upgrade would finally bring the selfie experience in line with the rest of the Ultra branding. Battery life is another area where expectations have changed. Samsung has relied heavily on efficiency gains for years, and while that strategy has worked to some extent, it is no longer enough in the premium flagship space. A 5,000 mAh battery used to feel impressive, but now it feels stuck in the past, especially when rival brands are shipping devices with much larger batteries without sacrificing design. For the Galaxy S27 Ultra, Samsung should increase battery capacity to at least 5,500 mAh, if not more. That extra capacity would be especially important as displays become brighter. AI tools run more often in the background, and cameras demand more processing power. Combined with the improved charging speeds Samsung introduced recently, a larger battery would make the Galaxy S27 Ultra more practical for power users who expect all-day endurance without compromise. For an Ultra flagship, battery confidence should be a major selling point, not just an acceptable result. Samsung also needs to push display technology further. The company already produces some of the best smartphone screens in the world, but that does not mean there is no room left for improvement. If anything, the Galaxy S27 Ultra needs a display that feels clearly ahead of what came before it. Samsung should address any limitations caused by newer, privacy-focused display features and make sure they do not negatively impact viewing quality. At the same time, the company should move toward a genuine 10-bit panel, rather than relying heavily on software-based simulation for color depth. A true next-generation display should deliver richer colors, smoother gradients, higher brightness, and even better visibility outdoors. Samsung could also improve anti-reflective coating to make the screen easier to use in harsh lighting conditions. Since the display is the part of the phone users interact with most, even subtle improvements here can have a major impact on the overall premium feel of the device. Perhaps the most important issue Samsung needs to address is not purely hardware at all. It is the growing concern around software feature restrictions. Samsung has made major promises about long-term software support, including multiple years of Android and security updates. But those promises start to feel less meaningful when key features are kept exclusive to newer phones despite older devices being fully capable of running them. If rumors about limited feature rollouts continue to prove true, users may begin to question whether Samsung's update policy is about long-term value or simply controlled marketing. With the Galaxy S27 Ultra, Samsung has a chance to set a better example. If a device is powerful enough to support a new AI feature, camera mode, or a productivity tool, then that feature should be rolled out fairly. 7 years of updates should mean more than just version numbers and patches. It should mean meaningful evolution over time. That kind of software trust is becoming just as important as hardware innovation in the premium smartphone market. The Samsung Galaxy S27 Ultra does not need to reinvent the smartphone to be exciting. What it needs is a stronger sense of direction. It needs to fix the parts of the Ultra experience that are beginning to feel stale, while doubling down on the features that actually matter to users. Standard 16GB RAM, a serious telephoto camera upgrade, a better front camera, a larger battery, a more advanced display, and fair software support would together make the Galaxy S27 Ultra feel like a true flagship upgrade rather than another year of cautious refinement as Samsung Galaxy S27 Ultra leaks begin to emerge in the coming months. These are the upgrades fans should be watching most closely. If Samsung gets these decisions right, the Galaxy S27 Ultra could become one of the best Android phones of 2027. If not, the pressure from competitors will only continue to grow.